Hello everyone, my name is Jerome Goodluck, Business Development Manager here at the Institute of Leadership and Management. Welcome all to this webinar, another in our exciting series of International Leadership Week, and I do hope you've been enjoying it so far. The Institute, along with the Global Peter Drucker Forum, identified the need for fresh perspectives on leadership and management and a recognition that we are all leaders now. And that certainly resonates with our mission here at the Institute around inspiring great leadership everywhere. And we've assembled an amazing team of global speakers on the subject in order to share their fresh perspectives to help us achieve our mission. After the presentation, do jump on our website, have a look at the content, etc. Especially if you're new to the Institute, you can download all sorts of free tools, webinars and podcasts, etc. We're delighted to welcome Yannikis. You'll hear from Yannikis Mazouris shortly, who will offer his fresh perspectives with a presentation entitled How to Embrace the New by Letting Go of the Old. There's a bit of housekeeping. You've got this handout in your, you've got this slide in your handouts in the control panel, information around technical aspects of the webinar, audio, etc. There's also guidance on how to ask questions, and you've got access to Yannikis's impressive biography in the handouts as well. You can even join the conversation via Twitter using the hashtag LeadershipWeek20. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank our partners who have helped us to make this amazing event a reality, our strategic partners as well as our networking partners, and highlighting Conicon. Yannikis and team represent Conicon, global provider based in Cyprus. Here at the Institute of Leadership and Management, we recognise that leadership is multidimensional. And we've identified 5 core dimensions, as you can see on the screen. These are further broken down into 49 subcomponents, which helps us to pinpoint exact learning needs. And the dimension that we're drilling into today is ownership, and specifically with the topic of the webinar, we're addressing taking initiative, which is important now more than ever. And Yannikis will be sharing with us how we can stop doing something old and consider doing nice things. So a reminder, please post lots of questions during the webinar. Post them in the box and we'll address as many as we can at the end. Without further ado, it's my great honour to introduce Yannikis Mazouris. Over to you.
Thank you, Jerome. I'm really proud to be part of this, and I'm really proud to be among so many distinguished leaders to share their knowledge and experience. I don't consider myself a leader, but I work for the last 25 years all over the globe, and I've met some very good leaders. And what I want to do today is share the experiences that I have had working with organizations and companies on affecting sustainable change and to deliver real results in organizations and in companies. My background, as you will see, is in engineering. My original background, I'm an engineer, but management science I fall in love with, and mainly this is the area I'm working in the last 25 years. Academia, something. Now, here's the first point I would like to make. Leadership, and that really bothers me a little bit, is not quite what textbooks and school teaches, or if you like to put it in a less offensively way, effective leadership in practice is exhibited in the field by real people who are tasked to deliver real results through as much as possible happy people. We have been told so many times leadership is not a position. Nevertheless, most of the leaders who are working in organizations and companies have given a position to lead, and they have to earn that position. But most of the times, leadership I encounter comes with a specific position. Now, let's describe the terrain, first of all. We live in interesting times, aren't we? It is an uncertain, volatile, hazardous, and turbulent environment characterized by what? Frequent, high-impact crises, whether they're called economic, environmental, health, like the one we have now, political, information or social crises. They are all crises, and they have one thing in common. It's uncertainty. We live in times of highest uncertainty. And this is what makes leadership today a very, very challenging task. Now, people, we are adaptable species. Every time the environment changes around us, we start the mechanisms of adapting to this environment. Some people manage to do it better than others, faster than others. But the truth of the matter is that in the last 2 decades, because of this environment that I just described with the highest degree of uncertainty, in this environment, in the last 20 years, people have changed more than they did the last decade. And in the process of changing, there were 3 things that happened to people. People today lie more, not intentionally, but defensively. You see, they are very suspicious. When you ask people a question, the first thing that comes into their mind is, why am I asked this question? What's the hidden agenda behind the question? Where is the answer to the question is going to lead me? So having all this suspicion in the air, people tend not to tell you the truth unless, of course, they trust you enormously. You see, the evidence of that is the fact that market research, conventional market research, which is based on asking people questions to obtain their preferences, or even political polls, we've seen it all the time, doesn't work so much anymore. People also have become more reactive. You see, there's 2 categories of people, proactive and reactive. Reactive are the people who exhibit the following behavior. First of all, they blame others for all their trouble, for all their failures, for all their problems. Every time they have a problem, they think it's somebody else's fault and not themselves. They don't understand that if I'm facing a personal problem or a work problem, I am part of the problem. I have my own share of responsibility to the problem. And if I want to solve the problem, my best chances is if I decide to do something about it myself, not waiting others to act on my problem only. But to do that, you have to accept your responsibility of the problem. A lot of people in this uncertainty environment, they don't do it. They are all every day, every minute, look at the social media, they're in a blame game. And if I convince a reactive person about his or her share of responsibility, unfortunately, there is another force that grounds the person into reactivity. They say, all right, I have the responsibility, but the others have 70% share, 80% share. They found a magic way of measuring accurately, actually, and objectively people's responsibility. And I say to people, it doesn't matter. Maybe you're right. Maybe other people have 80 or 70%. They have more than you have. But the truth of the fact is that you have to accept that you have a share of responsibility as well to move on. So this climate has created a lot of reactivity. We need to change that. And the third large consequence of this uncertain environment is that people became more emotional. You know, more and more studies prove that people trigger their decisions through the right brain, which is known as the emotional brain, and they take the decision eventually through the left brain, which is the logic part of the brain. So if we want to convince people, if we want to make things happen with people, we need to find the way to communicate through the right brain to the left brain. That increases our chances to get the people to do what we want them to do. So apparently, we are in need of true effective leadership today more than ever, in business, in politics, in our families, in our lives. We need leaders actually to get us out of this furious fast lane, because this environment has created very, very high speeds. So we need our leaders to get us out of this fast lane for a minute and let us remember actually who we are and why we are here. So as Jerome said, this is what I want to share with you. I want to share some of my field-tested experience of the last 7 years, how true leaders can serve their people by embracing the new and letting go of the old. All of the things that I will talk to you are experiential things. They are things that we try to apply every day in the field, because as I said, I'm not a leader, I'm a business consultant. And for the last 25 years, I work with people in every level of the hierarchy, from the top to the bottom. And I actually enjoy very much working at the front line. It's where real problems are solved and real opportunities are undertaken. So I want to share with you some of the things we applied in organizations to help them create a sustainable and growing regime, even in such difficult times. So one of the first things that I want to point out is true leading managers, or managers who are leaders, have the ability to freeze time. You see, the most scarce resource today we have is time. I mean, Justin Timberlake said it very well in the movie In Time. I don't know if you've seen it, but see it. It's a good movie because it shows how important and how precious time is. I mean, I can give 1,000 euros or British pounds to anyone, and then I can regain that in a matter of a few minutes. But if I give someone 1 hour of my life, then I cannot take back. That's it. That's just 1 hour of my life, and I cannot claim it back. That's why people consider leaders' time very precious, more important than bonuses and monetary incentives. So great leaders have this amazing ability to freeze time in two ways. When they need to make tough decisions, they act fast because they know the climate of uncertainty does not favor delays. They act fast. And the second way, on the other hand, is they know when they need to deal with other people's emotions, they need to stop the clock. They just stop the clock because they need to spend time with people. They know it's the time that they need to spend their time to heal the emotions. So they stop the clock. Now, here's another point that I find out in the field. In management, we have an axiom which says that all management systems are top to bottom. It means if you want to affect a change, you start from the top and you disseminate down to the bottom. That's what it says. Unless top management changes, they cannot affect a change in middle management or junior management or at the shop floor. Now, today in leading management, we have an opportunity to change this axiom and actually affect bottom-up changes. Changes that start from the bottom and climbing up to the top of the hierarchy. Now, how do we do that? Well, there are various ways. First, we protect people from information, or if you like, misinformation. I mean, there is vast amount of misinformation nowadays in the air. Great leaders protect, they know that, and they protect their people from information by being themselves, accurate and transparent. On the other hand, we found out that people perform better when they have in their hands information relevant to their work. And actually, they need this information real time, not outdated. So we create the information systems within the company so that people can have easily and in real time the information they need to assess their work, to assess their performance, to assess opportunities and take action. The biggest obstacle to engagement, I mean, I've read hundreds of articles about engagement, about teamwork, about getting people to work together. And very rarely I identify that they deal with the single most important obstacle to engagement. It's called fear. Fear. We live in times that fear is in the air constantly. Great leaders know that fear does not allow people to work together, to cooperate, to team up, to engage. And there were always a lot of fear sources in the workplace. We need to identify them and try to stop them if we want people to really innovate, engage, team up, work. There are different sources of fear. I mean, COVID nowadays is one. It's every day on the menu, but there are so many others that existed before. COVID, such as fear to speak up, fear to disagree, fear to express opinion, fear of politics at the workplace. So many fear sources that we need to identify and eliminate. Another thing that has been very helpful is the ability to develop people to acquire cognitive ability and critical thinking. That is, to give people the ability to receive information from numerous sources, analyze them quickly, assess them quickly, and lead them quickly to decisions, to act. Now, that's a very difficult skill to acquire. So it's very important, and that's what great leaders do, is to hire the right people to begin with that are able to get and develop this critical skill, which is called cognitive ability. It's very important for management, in sales, in marketing nowadays, in all the shop floor. Everybody needs a certain degree of cognitive ability. Another thing we apply to help people acquire this skill is we flatten the organizations. We kill verticality in hierarchical structures. But to do that, what does it mean? It means to take people from lower ranks up to higher hierarchical ranks. It means I need to give the people the skills to be able to cope at this level. And a few other things we do to help people develop, and the organizations altogether develop this very important ability. Now, great managers, leaders exhibit a high level of commitment. And that's how I measure commitment. The degree of commitment.
Check it out.
The degree of commitment is measured by the speed of decision making and the avoidance of procrastination. So leaders, great leaders, make quick decisions and they don't procrastinate, especially when they have to deal with the tough decisions. And that's how they show how committed to their people, how committed they are. That's my favorite one. Great leaders hire the best and build with them right from the beginning a win-win relationship. A win-win relationship, a relationship in which everyone is happy going along, is characterized by 5 ingredients. The first and important one is they define and agree the expected results with their people at the beginning and every time it's necessary. That is, they explicitly let people know what is expected from them in terms of specific, measurable, time-bound results, and in return, they want to know what the people learn specifically to achieve those results. The second ingredient is they agree beforehand the resources that are going to be made available, and they ensure that the system is designed to provide the resources when needed and not to create an obstacle to people. Third, they put in place a guidance framework. That's where the coaching comes, that's where the training comes, that's where the message, I am available if you need me. You see, maybe you don't have the time, you don't have all the time in the world, but people need to feel that if you have the time, you will be there all the time with them. 4, they define a reporting and accountability framework. That is a framework in which people feel the responsibility to report for the results they have agreed at number 1. And lastly, they have a very clear consequences framework. People know what the consequences are right from the beginning, both positive incentives as well as negative consequences, negative incentives. And that's how you build a flawless win-win relationship. Great leaders lead by example. They don't make the lead just an example. They go also by the requirements of other people. They follow procedures that other people are asked to follow. When their people need help from them, they don't ask them what you did, what did you do? They ask them, let's go and show me how you did it, because what you do doesn't deliver results. It's the how you did it that will deliver a result. So great leaders are the example.
Yannikis, I do apologise for interrupting you. Unfortunately, time is marching on and we need to address a couple of questions. Would that be okay?
All right, I got quick 2 slides, 10 seconds.
10 seconds, let's do it.
Cultivate innovation and culture. Great leaders delete 2 words from their vocabulary, same and impossible, and replace them with possible and different. They encourage different opinions, even conflicts and disagreements, beautifully. For great leaders, diversity is a blessing. Similarity is a sin. Copy-paste is just another copy. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you, Yannikis. On behalf of the Institute and everyone here, lots of positive comments are coming through. Thank you so much. That was an excellent presentation. We've had some really great feedback. Not a question, but just wanted to share what an excellent webinar. So it's really resonating out there. Thank you. We've got a couple of minutes, and I would like to address some of the questions that are coming in. Thank you so much. Firstly, what is the main obstacle for leaders to adopt your suggestions today?
That's an easy one. It's gravity, gravity, habits. It's old habits, keep them grounded on the floor. They need to beat the force of gravity. It's purely physics. It's their old habits. And I appreciate that it's very difficult for people to abandon their old habits and adopt new ones. It's hard work. It's persistence and perseverance and passion, most of it, because you need to beat gravity.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. We've had several comments around your model of affecting change from bottom to top, and certainly that resonates with the work from Drucker and the Institute around we're all leaders now and inspiring great leadership. But how practically can you affect change from bottom to top?
Well, here's the thing. You need to trust people. You see, most of the important and great work in every organization, you know it, I know it, everybody knows it, is done on the shop floor, right? On the front line. For a big restaurant chain, it's the waiters and the waitresses. For a civil service, it's the people serving the customers every day. For the hospital, it's the nurses, it's the doctors. For a trading company, is the salespeople. So it's the people who make the magic are these people actually. So what we need to do is to trust these people. Now, a lot of management doesn't trust their people because often they hire their own people. Secondly, they don't develop their people to trust them. They need to constantly develop their people. They need to provide different frameworks so that people can develop their skills all the time. Because you see, I often say skill is knowledge, practice, and passion. We need to provide that to people so that they get the skills to get at the higher level so that we can trust them to deliver the work.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was really well answered, and trust has been a theme throughout the week. Unfortunately, I do not have time to ask you questions around your time anecdote, so apologies, but we just need to respect your time. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Yannikis, for an engaging, enthralling webinar. Thank you to all our partners. Thank you, all of you who joined us today. Do complete the survey, which will be emailed to you at the end of the webinar, and do attend further sessions exploring fresh perspectives on leadership. Thank you all. Thank you, Yannikis.
The pleasure was mine. Thank you very much.